Good morning, I'm Dennis Weiss for Eagle Communications, and this is our town. We have a fun story. We have Joe Minick, the guy who fixes stuff and builds things and makes the impossible happen around Abilene, is at it again. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
So, but you're here to talk about the new grist mill that a few partners of yours are going to put up over there on Enterprise.
Well, we hope so.
We hope so. Well, I already know when he says he hopes so, it's a fact. So that's what's happening.
Well, we're already pouring cement, so
pouring cement. So before we get to that,
okay.
Joe's a train guy, in case you're wondering. He's the principal person at the Abilene Smoky Valley Railroad down there and keeps the black smoke rolling out of the steam engine. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
So, you know, Doc Schwarting retired a couple years back. Mm-hmm. And I see him down there helping you out.
He's going to take my spot.
Is he going to make a mechanic, or does he just stand there and go, pipe wrench?
No, he's going to make a mechanic.
Is he? All right.
We're going to make a mechanic.
Okay, well, there's hope for him.
You bet.
Okay, that's good. You know, I think that's an incredible story. I think the people see the train go down the tracks, and maybe we've seen it a few times now, so it becomes normal. That's not normal at all.
No.
That big old, 9 foot on those driver wheels?
Yeah, no, 79 inches.
Okay.
79, whatever that figure.
Okay, 79-inch driver wheels, but every time I see it go down there, I think of all those moving parts that had to be made moving again.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work, and it's an incredible thing that we have it here in Abilene.
It's incredible that we took it all apart and put it back together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I remember when my wife and I brought a camera down to film it when you rolled it out of the shed and fired it up. I remember you standing on top of the boiler with a 14-inch pipe wrench in your hand, tightening a leaking water pipe. And I thought to myself, what have these guys got into? By golly, you got into a running steam engine's what you got into.
Right.
That's terrific. Okay. All right. You're going to put up a grist mill over there. So tell people what a grist mill is.
Well, okay. I always like to say, everybody asks me, what's a grist mill? I said, well, that's that rare plant called grist. that isn't right. A grist mill is basically an old stone ground flour that they used to make. A lot of them used to run the water wheels, wind power, whatever. When they come out here, they made this flour mill that did everybody's grain. They brought their own grain in, and then it was called a grist mill.
Okay.
That's where that word come from. Now, why actually grist, I don't really know.
Yeah, well, grist is a word that describes, I think, the two surfaces rubbing together, and it produces grist.
Grist, okay.
So when you grind things together using stone, the result is grist.
Okay.
I think you can Google it or look it up in your Webster dictionary, but I think that's what it is.
Yeah, okay. Well, what got this all started is I was looking through one of my train books, and back in the eastern part of the United States somewhere, I don't know if it's Tennessee or where, there was a little tourist train going up through the valley, and there was a little grist mill up there they was trying to get restored so people could see it. And ding, well,
Ding.
That's how Enterprise got started, was the Hoffman grist mill.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a little working grist mill? And it took off from there.
Yeah. So let's talk about Hoffman. Reed Hoffman has set a little money aside to help this project go.
Yes, that's correct. We got the word around, and they asked me to come over, and we had a little speech or conference about it. And you know, whose mill is it? How are you going to do this and whatever? And when we got done, Reed come over and put his hand on me and said, "Here's $10,000 to get this started."
Yeah.
Whoa! Yeah. You know, that's how it got started. We've got fundraisers out there now to see what we can do.
We're going to put some information on the screen here. You'll give us when we're done filming about how people can get in touch with you and donate some money to help this project along. But we'll stay on the big picture, because that's what people will understand on TV. What a cool thing that somebody's willing to invest money to build something from the past in Enterprise right where your train runs.
Right.
That adds up to tourist dollars coming into the Abilene area, and that's a great thing.
Right. It's to be setting right well beyond our. We wanted to set it right by the track, but we can't because of room and sewer lines in that area, so we had to move it off 100 feet. Right. But it's on railroad property, and so yeah, when the train comes in, our idea is to it won't be running every day necessarily.
Sure.
But it'll be open and they can walk through it and see all this.
You'd be in competition with ADM
No,
if you was running it every day, Joe.
Well, I don't hardly think so. I don't hardly think so.
Now, you'll probably know this. I heard this in a discussion about planning and zoning, oddly enough, a while back. But one of the earliest businesses in Abilene, I do believe, was a grist mill.
Yeah.
And I believe it was set over there on the edge of what we now think is the diversion dike, but in Mud Creek,
Right.
where the elevator is over there today.
Somewhere over there.
Somewhere over there.
Then, of course, Brown's out there was a bigger one. So.
We set in the middle of the Great Plains, and we're still considered the wheat basket by the few people left in America who know what that means.
Right.
But this is a picture of our past. This is how the people who came here made a living and fed themselves through the winter. They were able to cooperatively bring their grain in, get it ground, turned into flour, and then have provisions for the winter. And that became, because everybody couldn't have one of these 36-inch stone turn-in on water wheel. So, but if one guy did, he could make a little cash money by doing the grinding, and all of the people in the neighborhood could turn their wheat into edible products.
Yeah, no, we're not running it by water wheel.
You're not? You're not going to divert the channel over there and run it with a water wheel, Joe? I'm disappointed in you.
It seems like something about the Corps of Engineers of damming up Smoky Hill.
I wouldn't worry about those guys. I wouldn't. That sounds like a fun thing to do to me. But so how are you going to run it?
It'll all be run electric. We'll have electric motor on each machine. We talked a little bit about putting the old line shaft with belts to each one.
Yeah.
But we thought if people are going to come through here and see this, we would have probably an ocean nightmare with all those floppy belts. They'd have to be so much shielded you couldn't see them anyway.
I was hoping you was going to put in those old long belts, and I'd go take a contract to get you some buffalo hides to make. They make the best belting, you know.
Yeah. But I think we're not going to put the belts on.
Okay, all right. Well, we have some...
Or at the present time.
At the present time.
We might change on a couple of machines might have
You're probably
belts.
right. For the sake of tourism, a good, safe, enclosed electric motor is probably a lot easier to let somebody get up next to and look at.
Right. So.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the timeline? How long is it going to take you to build a grist mill over there?
Well, okay, the plan for the mill itself, like I just said, the concrete's supposed to be poured probably not this week, probably the first of next week, somewhere. They've got it laid out.
1st of November, we're pouring concrete.
Right, and then the 14th of November, we're having a old-fashioned barn mill raising.
Wow.
Right now, we've got 14 people that have signed that they'll be there. On all these other sheets, we've drawn them all out, and we've got cutting lists, so every board is exact measurements. So somebody can have that list and they can start cutting, the other guys start nailing.
Yeah.
We hope to have it up within a day or two, the building.
That's fantastic.
And that'll be going on the 14th if you want to see an old-fashioned barn raising.
Yeah. That's another glimpse of our past, isn't it? Very few people built their structures alone.
Right.
After there was enough people to get help.
With
the neighbors all came in and helped each other, and the barn went up.
Right. So.
Yeah. So you didn't have to deal with just a wall standing there for 6 months.
Right.
You know? So all of those things. What a fantastic thing to do, Joe.
But that's the plan. Get that up, and for two reasons. One, we don't have enough finances to completely do all this stuff.
Sure.
But getting the building up, that shows that we are legitimate.
Right.
We are going to do something.
Got a roof.
Roof over.
Yeah.
And if we can get that up before cold weather, then we got all winter to start building the machinery.
Well, let's talk about raising money then. Okay, so we talked about Reed Hoffman gave you a check.
Right.
Reed's family is one of the principals, if not the principal, the Dickinson County Bank over there, that is still doing great things in the enterprise community. We at the chamber helped them put on a business after hours a few weeks ago, and I don't know, there were 60, 70 people came and had a great time. You know, it's still a vibrant business, right, in Enterprise, Kansas. So Reed's family is still doing things through what they started in the pioneer days, and I think people need to know that. So I noticed in your press release that's a great place to drop a check off, Dickinson County Bacon Enterprise.
Right.
That's where people can leave some money to do this.
Or get it to me, whatever, I'll get it to them. I mean,
But you're hard to find, and you're up on top of that steam engine. You know, you try to flip that check up there, and the wind's going to catch it. Next thing you know, it's in the boiler.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we did put all the people in Enterprise, we sent them a flyer here this week of what's kind of going on, and to donate if they want to. And then also all the descendants of the Hoffman family are getting a letter of what's going on if they want to help see it.
Let me ask you a hard question. You ready?
Ready.
Why do you do all these things?
Why do I do these?
Yes. Why does Joe Minick do all? Why do you put steam engines together from piles of junk? And why do you build grist mills at the edge of the tracks in Enterprise? Why do you do these things?
Is there something mental problem or something?
Well, I think that's a given, but there's got to be another reason.
It's just something I like to see done. I mean, something that people say it can't be done, or I get to manufacture something, to build something. That's what drives me, I guess.
Yeah. I kind of hoped you'd say something like that, and there's a reason. Okay. We also get to work with a lot of young people, Joe, at Eagle Communications, and I don't think young people today are devoid of motivation. I think maybe my generation, which is kind of the gap between you, I'm 58 and you're a little above me, but you know, my generation kind of failed to press that motivation or the opportunity to do something with it downhill. So you're always been motivated by making things. You produce things with your hands. You made that steam engine go, you and your friends made that steam engine go with your hands, and you'll make this go with your hands as well. I also note that there is a stack of engineering drawings right there that you did with a pencil and a ruler.
Right.
So this is not just grunt work. This is from engineering to making something with your hands. And so I want to say to the people who watch this and their grandkids are sitting there watching with them, or their children, and I know James Holland's son watches, he's 5, he watches all the time. So here's a great example of what you can do with an idea and a desire to put your skills you learn in school in mathematics to work with your hands and produce things which will last generations. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, tell me about your group a little bit. Who are the core people that come help you do things? So if somebody can see them on the street, they can engage them in a conversation.
Well, of course, myself, I guess I'm kind of the spark of it.
Yep.
Guess that. Of course, Reed is kind of back of it financially a little bit to get us started. Amy Fagley is the representative from the railroad.
Okay. All right.
Board member that's on it, you know.
Yep.
And then of course, probably Michael Hamilton that runs the Buggy Restaurant.
Yes, the new business there in Enterprise.
Is
Buggy Stop?
Buggy Stop, which is wanting to lease it as soon as we get it running.
Yeah, fantastic.
So between us, I guess you might say that we're the core group.
Okay, all right. Well, that's some more names out there for people who run into different people. So if people are excited by this and want to get involved, those are some people that could say, I'd sure like to help. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the mechanics. So we had all the big conversation. You know, a grist mill, and we took a picture of the 36-inch stone. You've got stone running on stone.
Yeah, we have basically what we call a bed stone, which is a 36-inch, 8-inch thick granite that's solid. It sets on the base. And then you have a shaft that comes up through the center hole that drives the top one. And that top one you can raise and lower by a little hand crank out here. And how far down it comes is how fine you get your flour.
That's right.
And then there's grooves that's cut in that of a certain type groove and runners, which I do that catches that grain and shoves it into that stone. Well, it gets tight out there, and then it kicks you over, and that's how you eventually get.
Are you telling me that you're going to groove this stone yourself?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll groove this stone.
That's, oh yeah, I'll do the stone, he says.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Well, yeah, I know, not for you. But I want people to understand how extraordinary that is. You just can't cut a few grooves in the stone.
No.
It's kind of got to be right.
Yeah, you have a pattern layout. And,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, if your great grandpa did it, you should be able to do it, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's so.
Well, my great grandpa wasn't a miller. He ran a sawmill.
Yeah. Well, he did it with wood then. You know, these are the things we run into at an antique show or a farm sale, and somebody says, "What's that?" It's a big round rock. And, oh, I think it's an old millstone. And you run into it in the scriptures too about having a millstone around your neck.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't want this around my neck, I assure you.
No, it's pretty heavy.
But I was at Homestead Milling. It's a custom miller up the road towards Salina over there. And out in the backyard, there's a bunch of old millstones over there.
So.
And I thought, you know, isn't that pretty interesting? And at the time I was there, I just looked at it and said, you know, wouldn't it be cool? Well, it's going to be here in the Abilene area, and you're going to build it.
Right.
So
now there's different types of grooving. I'll be putting a groove on there for wheat type stuff, but you can have different types of how that groove is conformed to different things.
Yeah.
I do have a manual on the different cuts to put in them. So.
What do you use to groove stone with?
Well, the old way you did it with a hammer and chisel. Now you have it's a little 4-inch, like your little 4-inch hand grinders, but it's a little diamond.
Little diamond wheel.
Thing, and it'll just cut right through there.
Yeah. Well, I'm so excited about the opportunity to see it run.
Yeah.
If you would let us, when you start putting this part together, which will be tremendously interesting on a camera,
okay,
we'd love to come to Enterprise and watch when the base stone's down and you're starting to put this thing together. That would be very cool to have on camera.
We'll probably put the base stone down without the grooving.
Yep.
And so then when we set the drive in it, we'll put an indicator on it, and we can run that stone to make sure everything is straight there. After we're sure everything is locked straight, then we'll put the grooves in.
Yeah, fantastic. So, what haven't I asked you that you want to tell people?
Well, there might be other things in it, which most people, after it goes through this, if you want regular whole wheat flour, kind of coarse, that's it.
You're done.
You're done.
Yep.
If you want it a little finer, then we go to either one of the two machines. This one would probably be the bigger one. It's called a bolter, and for easy way to explain it, it's a screen tube about 8 feet long, 7 maybe on this one, of different screen coarseness, fine, coarse, whatever in there, and you can change them. Inside of that 16-inch diameter, there's a set of brushes that run, and they're on a spiral. So as the flour comes in there, it's working its way through there. Right. The first screen is the finest. You'll have real fine flour come off of that screen. Second would be a little coarser. Right. And if it gets down there, you don't want to make anything coarser, you just go back and regrind it. It goes back into the regrinder. That's a bolter. Most people don't know what a bolter is. Yeah. A sifter, of course, everybody's seen. That's the next little thing there.
Yep. That's just a bigger version of what we have at home.
Hammer shake sifter, just a bigger version, and it runs in a rotary motion.
Yeah.
This will be a little portable type sifter. And so, like I say, these smaller mills that we have, we'll have the big mill and we have two small ones. Somebody brings a sack of flour, wheat in, it probably won't go through the big mill. It would go through the small one and through the small sifter, portable sifter. Okay. Then we'll also have what we call packers. That if you're running that, a packer is like a funnel, and then a little auger in that funnel, and you rotate it easy while it brings the flour into your sack. And you stop rotating, it stops. And so
it's going to be so much fun, folks, to come see this thing run. But before it runs, you've got an incredible opportunity to help Joe and friends and Reed Hoffman make this thing a reality in the Abilene area. Right. $10, $20, or $10,000, that would be welcome to make this project go. Yeah. And from the economic development standpoint, which we talk about on Eagle all the time, this is a big deal. Will put a steam train and a grist mill within 10 miles of Abilene, and be able to have people come, spend the day, go to Eisenhower, ride the train, and watch a grist mill run. What an incredible opportunity to extend the tourist value of Abilene.
I think so.
Yeah. Joe, thanks for all you do.
Okay.
You keep it doing it for a long time, all right?
All right.
Okay. Folks, we hope you enjoyed today's show with Joe Minick building us a grist mill over in Enterprise with the help of Reed Hoffman and you. We thank you for your watching today. For Eagle Communications, I'm Dennis Weiss. Have a great day.